When did music become a scoreboard? I feel like everything in rap, everything in hip hop right now is always focused on numbers, and I'm really getting tired of it. Here is why focusing on numbers is killing rap. What's going on, y'all? It's willarmani. I hope everybody's feeling good today. If you are, please make sure to subscribe. I got more videos coming on the way. Let's talk about the problem, because people are more invested in first week sales and numbers more than the actual music itself. Everybody's so focused on numbers in the game instead of the actual music, and it's become a serious problem because nobody's talking about the quality of albums anymore. Everybody's talking about, oh, what did they sell first week? Oh, did they have a hit on TikTok? Everybody is talking about everything except for the music in the music, and it just makes no sense to me. I don't want to blame the artists insanely, but at the same time, it does have a little, I think the artists do have to put a little bit of responsibility on themselves, because recently artists aren't even trying to make quality good music anymore. They're just trying to make things that get on the charts. They're just gonna make things that are getting seen by people that are trending. And I get it, because first off, you have the critics, you have the academics, the bottle lambs, the people who listen. It is their job to report on the news. It is their job to report on the numbers and the sales. I have no hate towards them whatsoever, and I understand, I get it. They have a job to do. The artists also have a job to do, which is put out the music. The way that sales and numbers get reflected into how people see an artist so much is so insane that some people won't even listen to a project if they see that it sold low first week. There's an obsession with stats and trends, which creates burnout and inauthenticity in artists. And I honestly want to talk about artists that a lot of people don't want to say this is happening to, but the artists like the Osama Sons, the Netspens, the Yeats, the Cardis, I don't think that any of the artists that I've named have bad music. I think that everybody in their own right has made good music, and again, I'm objected to my own opinion, but I don't think that any of the music is bad necessarily. The issue is where a lot of the artists, instead of focusing on how can I make a good cohesive project, how can I make something that actually will last long term, that won't just be here for the moment, that will be here for longevity, they're focused on how can I get a hit, how can I get something chart selling, how can I get something that's gonna hit Billboard. I get it, because at the end of the day, a lot of these artists are signed to labels. A lot of these artists are signed. If they don't get those numbers, if they don't get those sales, the label is looking at them like, you're not making us money, so they're either gonna drop them, shelve them, and prevent them from making music. Like, I understand it, but the inauthenticity is also driven by the artists too, and we have to put responsibility on them as well. We also have to really talk about the impact of this numbers talk on the fans and the culture, because it has impacted it massively. I myself have seen in the last few years that because there's been such a talk on numbers, such a focus on numbers and stats, that fans are now becoming stat watchers instead of music lovers, and it's insane. Because I remember years and years ago, first off, the game was different. So artists were selling more copies of their albums, they were selling more, they were getting more streams. I also think that without people being able to do album bundles as easily, without people being able to boost their stats in ways that people wouldn't see as authentic, the game has been a lot different with numbers. So even top selling artists aren't selling as much. A big example of this is like Uzi. We don't know how much of Uzi's streams, although he was at the top of the game, we don't know how much of Uzi's streams were fake or boosted. And I don't want to say too much, because I mean, you guys see the Uzi posters behind me. Like, I am a Uzi fan, but his last project did not sell as much as his previous projects, but I don't really think that we can blame him that much. Nav recently dropped a project, and the project did not sell as much as people would expect, because Nav always sells amazing numbers. But then we also have to think about it, the game is different today. It's not as easy to boost sales, it's not as easy to boost numbers, and Nav didn't sell as much. Does that mean that the music was bad? Does that mean that the album was bad? I think Nav's album was actually really good. It was one of his best projects when it comes to the quality and the consistency. But as soon as people see first week sales and numbers, they don't even take a look at the music itself, and that has affected the fans and the culture. And I have to give, again, responsibility to the critics. I have to give responsibility to the people and the rap news reporters who are constantly reporting on this. And it's not entirely their fault, because these pages and these people who report on rap, they survive off of negativity, because that's what's going to give attention to their page, that's what's going to give attention to them. So I get it, and that's how they're making their bread. But we have to also keep in mind that this is impacting the culture, this is impacting the fans, it's impacting the music, because now the fans are stat watchers instead of music lovers. Nobody's listening to an album and saying, wow, this is great anymore. And even if they are, as soon as they see first week sales, the first thing that they think is, is this must not be a good project. But really, some of the best projects from before, they might have not gotten amazing sales. They might have had hits here and there, but really what drove the project was consistency. What drove the project, what drove the artist was the fact that their music actually had quality, and it was something that could be long lasting. And quality and long lasting music doesn't mean that an artist has to make something that's extremely lyrical or makes something that is extremely has so much depth. What it really means is that they're making music thinking long term. They're making music thinking, how can I make something that isn't just chasing a trend? How can I make something that can really be carried into the future? Numbers don't measure soul, pain, or hunger, but music can. So what do we need to do to change this? I don't really know if we can change it, because the culture has been so focused on numbers for so long. Everybody is so invested. Even fans are more invested in numbers. Oh my gosh, they did 1 million streams. Oh my gosh, they have 1 million followers, But what a lot of fans and people in the culture don't realize is all of that stuff is fake. And if you know that it's fake, I don't understand why people are still heavily invested in it. Everybody's still invested in people's first week sales. I mean, Ken Carson is just about to put out this project and everybody's so invested. Oh my gosh, he's gonna do 100K, he's gonna do number. Regardless of what an artist does, regardless of how much an artist sells, I personally would rather focus on the music and focus on, did they create something good that's gonna continue to push their career in a positive trajectory, or are they just making something that is for the moment? I feel like we should focus more on quality of projects, more uniqueness in the music, more emotional connection. And emotional connection, again, doesn't mean that the music has to have depth. It just means that the artist is trying to really get into a fan's heart by making something that can really say, yo, like, this is some fire and it's something that I'm going to listen to for the next few years. Because the artists who last and the artists who are really long lasting, a lot of the times they didn't sell well. A lot of the times they didn't have music that stayed for generations when it came to the trends, but when it comes to the quality of the music, when it comes to maybe the concept of their album, it lasted long term. So I think these are a few things that we need to recognize and we need to start looking at, instead of constantly focused on numbers. Rap, hip hop, music as a whole has been so heavily focused on numbers, and it's something that I'm kind of getting frustrated with at this point, but I understand it is name of the game. It's kind of just how the game has been for a long time, and it's, instead of something that I should be getting frustrated at, it's something that we should probably look at and say, like, yo, maybe we should all start focusing more on the music. And I know this is something that not a lot of people, a lot of critics, a lot of people like that are going to look at and say, yo, like, of course we got to do that, because if it's going to drive attention and engagement on their page, they're going to post it. I get it. Everybody's got to eat, but please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree in the comments. Do you think that rap is too heavily focused on numbers right now? Do you think that we need to go back to focusing on the quality of the music rather than the numbers, the stats, and the first week sales that it's getting? Please let me know in the comments below. I really want to have a discussion with you guys. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. I got more videos, more content coming on the way. If you want to check out any of my own music, follow me on Instagram, willarmani with 2 eyes. It's been your boy Will Armani. Have a positive day.